Hello, Commanders, and welcome to the RNG Endgame, a podcast about the game Marvel Strike Force. Your hosts are Frid and Creative. We're leaders in an alliance from a large cluster, and would like to share our insights with you to hopefully improve your gameplay and overall experience, and give you a little entertainment.
All right, Creative, we're back. Episode number 78. And we're back in form, so the show must only start the way it should. Why people are here to hear me talk about my roster. And this week, not a whole lot, but I did go crazy on Heroes for Hire. Shang-Chi is now 5 stars. Tier 14.
You got to talk about Shang-Chi and how you magically got this 5-star for a second, because most people are quite perplexed after we talked last week how you can not even get the guy past 3 stars.
Yeah, how it was impossible for free to play, and here I am with 5-star, and I haven't spent any money, so we'll talk about that. I put the ISO 5 on the Heroes for Hire, which we'll talk about too. So the whole point here, in general, was mostly for war. We noticed that it has slowed down war quite a bit, but I guess everybody's doing this now. So there's a Heroes for Hire on every war room. So yeah, I was just trying to join that bandwagon. That was the initial motivation. But for those of you wondering about how I got Shang-Chi to 5-star, so the short version is I got lucky with the character orbs. Now, outside of campaign energy, we have said that the character orbs are the next best thing to spend cores on, right? You use them on campaigns, be it ISO, regular, or event campaigns. But if you have some to spare, the best other value is character shards. And I talked about last week how on the third orb that I opened for Shang-Chi, I got 80 drop for him. So I had him on lock at 100 before the event started. So we said how you get 150 for free from the milestones, right? So that would have put me at 250, which means I am 60 shards short of 5-star, right? Because 310 would be a 5-star. So I opened exactly 4 orbs, and I got 30 out of that. So first round I did 4 orbs, and then I did 4 more orbs, so 8 total. And then on top of all this, I spent 1,000 cores on the medallion that guarantees 30. So what's the math there, Creative? 675 times 8 plus 1,000. 6,400 cores for a 5-star.
Well, I guess that's better than the campaign release. We spent 8,000 or at least 7,000.
Right, at least you get other stuff though. Here you get nothing but just his shards. So it was like crazy lucky, right? If you don't get an 80, you won't be able to spend this little. You would have to spend 10,000 plus. So anyway, when I got him to 5, I got all excited. I'm like, all right. And then I look, what I did was for the ISO component is I have been farming the brawler forever. But then I looked at how many orbs I had, premium and regular. And I was like, oh, I could do whatever I want. So I went crazy and actually ran out of the ISOs for Shang-Chi because I did Iron Fist first, I think. And they're all brawlers, so I ran out of those pretty quickly. And even after opening all the orbs, I didn't have enough, so I had to farm to get them there. So again, it was a little bit of war, a little bit of gamma, and a little bit of overestimating how many ISOs I had because of the orbs that, are based on RNG, and they don't drop that much anyway. It felt like a lot more, but it wasn't that much. So what do you think of all that? Bad judgment, waste of resources?
Well, I mean, for the first time in I don't know how long, we didn't fully clear our opponent's ship this week. And so That was a rarity. Last week we talked about how, war was, in quotes, easier because it was such a small percentage of our collection power on defense. We had just so much more offense. And so at this stage, I'm sure we'll get a heroes for a higher counter soon. They don't let teams reside out there for too long, so I'm sure maybe and I think I said it wrong in a couple episodes ago. I didn't call them the Secret Warriors. It's the New Warriors. Cloak and Dagger and Death Pool can be a counter, but when a team is kind of this broken, I don't have a lot of confidence that the counter is going to work right. So I suspect that this is going to be a painful 2 months in war, and we're going to have to figure out ways to, take out the 300 or 400K heroes for hire without an Infinity Watch pretty soon. Otherwise, this is going to be the norm. So, right now, I wouldn't have gone ISO level 5 on all these guys, but I kind of chicken out on the later gamma nodes, and we'll talk about that. So, right now it looks like a solid investment. It's a real pain in war. So,
yeah, but it's the challenge is it's trying to accelerate the lack of stars on some of these guys, right? That's basically what it comes down to. It's like, okay, these guys are going to be 5 for who knows how long. So let's help them with the ISO. I got him to 452K. It's pretty good. So it should present a challenge for my room when they face it. But I was also trying to get further in gamma. I go down the middle. That's my lane. So I'm trying to contribute in there as opposed to, bailing and going left out to the X-Men nodes or something. So, we got to find a solution to that, and hopefully it is. It's interesting that they last longer than you would expect, but we'll talk about why in a second in the news.
Okay.
Why the heroes for hires all of a sudden kind of last a little bit longer in raids. All right, the other thing I did was level 82. I got there, and I upgraded my Infinity Watch to 82 because Arena is what it is since... I was asking you about this earlier. Like, since when have we had this meta that's 5 fights of the same every day? At least 5.
So the announcement for Phyla was early June, and we were running Infinity Watch without Adam Warlock for a while because Adam didn't come out to the end of June. So basically, really July till now. So we're now 2.5 months in to this team, which is a lifetime in Scopely years.
Yeah, so and it's a long fight. It's an annoying long fight, and anyway. But you gotta keep them up because they work on war and on other nodes as well. So, all right, I got Bishop to 7-star. After complaining forever that he would never show up on war, I got a streak where he was showing up almost every time. So last week, pretty quickly, I got him to 7. So Bishop is finished. And I did ask you here if I should invest in Call of Obsidian. But I need like 150 shards or something crazy. And it would eat all my credits. Granted, we're going to earn some credits. So maybe I'll wait until I have a bigger balance and then maybe I'll consider it. But it shouldn't help anything, right? Because they're not used for anything. It's not an unlock. So having him at 6 doesn't really matter, right? Versus 7.
Right. And he's not getting us any. Maybe if you're a Cosmic lane, you're still using them. I don't know why you would. There's better choices. So, unless you're a mid-game player and your arena meta hasn't been able to get to Infinity Watch, then that's the only way I could think of it.
Yeah, so yeah, he's been doing his job forever without the 7-star. So I think I'm gonna hold off. Who knows what else they'll put in there? So the last thing I want is to use all these credits and then be regretful. I know Bishop is still solid for Doom raid in the later nodes, and overall solid. A bigger Bishop is always a good thing on that team as he's the tank and the damage. So
he just hits so hard.
I know. That ultimate is kind of
sick when he's charged and he's got offense up. Oh my god, It just blows people up.
It blows the main guy and the guys on the side. It just boom. So yeah, no, happy with that. I've been thinking about even maybe another star or something, a red star, but let's not get carried away. I'm just leaving that alone for now.
Okay.
And the last bit of leveling was Death Pool. So I remember you mentioning last week that I was a fool for not using her in Doom because there's just energy flying all over the place. And I mean, for that alone, she's worth it. Not to mention, she doesn't never seem to die. I don't know. She just stays alive. And you can save that nuke for some She-Hulk or something pesky that you don't want to deal with. You just take it out in one shot.
Doom on the
So,
boss node.
yep, it's like gone. So, pretty impressive what she can do. Kind of fun. And the energy just flying all over the place. So, I took her to ISO level 1 of the blue because I think she'll be super important in those lanes for a long time to come, as well as maybe a counter, like you said, to Heroes for Hire. So that is it from my perspective that I can remember that's noteworthy. How about what you've been up to?
Yeah, so I seem to be a day or so behind you. I hit level 82 today, so after the cutoff, I did do first things first, level up Phyla and Moon Knight, or Moon Dragon, sorry. So those two are leveled up, and then I didn't go anywhere near as heavy on Heroes for Hire. Mine are only 310, and last week I said I didn't believe that they could handle Gamma 4.3 difficulty, and surprise, surprise, in the second grouping of nodes, so after the first boss in the middle, there are a bunch of nodes that are Defender, Heroes for Hire, Hydra, and Mercenary, and they are doing those non-boss nodes just fine. The boss nodes, they can make a dent. And then we have several people with pretty ridiculous Heroes for Hire in our alliance, and they're using them quite far, all the way to the third boss node. I think you, Frid, have reported a little bit more difficulty, though. You have yours at 400 or whatever. Did you cover that already? I missed that.
I mentioned that they were 450. I didn't talk about how far I'm getting. I should look exactly, but it's not, those first nodes are not a problem. It's like further up where everybody gets stuck on that boss. I think it's the third boss. We can't.
Yeah, it's the third boss.
We can't get through it. I mean, there's just no, there's no way. And so I don't know if my strike team doesn't have a crazy one or what's going on, but this 452 is not even close to enough for what you need there. Everything's getting one shot. I've got Iron Fist just dies. It's pretty tough.
Okay.
So I don't have a real answer, but we'll keep building them, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. So I started running the spreadsheet because there's just so much to do. I've had kind of analysis paralysis for a while, so next week I'll kind of talk a little about what it is. But I mean, at a high level, we've got new warriors. Right now, we just have Deathpool, but we have Secret Avengers, which we'll need at some point for Doom 2, and everybody says that Captain America Falcon, whatever his name is better than, even at a low star, is significantly better than Red Guardian, so I'm going to take him up. Not that I have problems with the skill nodes right now, but if it's going to make it at least easier and I can consistently do the boss node, then all for it. Still want to take up X Factor higher. Still want to take up Heroes for Hire higher. I mean, I've got a long list of things, plus all of the now, some of the teams that were passed up still can add value, particularly if war is going to now be 10 defenses and who knows how many attacks. So the list is always long as can be. I've got plenty of gold, plenty of T4s and mats all across the board, orange, purple, everything. So my only fear is always training mats. But I'll give some detail of what I've decided to do. There, I'll focus on Infinity Watch for obvious reasons, and then I'm going to look at shoring up my Doom teams, because we are now doing the Doom 1.1 regularly, and it is it's a problem. I still have the top lane and bio is just ridiculous. So I'm thinking of taking symbiotes higher. So I mean, I right away it's already like 30 million in gold that I could spend. So I'll churn through that and kind of talk about what I selected and why next week, and hopefully that gives some of our listeners some guidance.
One thing we could do, just thinking on the fly here, be curious to see, because I think I have been a little bit more aggressive spending, maybe in my head, than you have been, relatively speaking. So to see how the teams are doing compared to each other may be interesting.
Sure. Yeah.
Like this Heroes for Hire thing, and then all the other like newer teams. Because I've taken Sam to maybe 14, 3-star, because I got him before the end of the strike pass from like an Ultimus orb or something. So it'd be interesting to see what that looks like. Now, wanted to talk to you about Doom 1 since you mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
What so I'll tell you what my problem spots are. And it's funny because I have the baby bio, right? But that first node I have to do, I mean, it's like 2 tries, sometimes 3, depending on if I get unlucky. And then
so
somebody else is doing the boss. I don't even get near it.
And so that node, I mean, it's just like mutants. That second mutant node is really tough, but they made it the first in my lane. And so that's the node where you've got Taskmaster and Hela and a whole bunch of things. Is that what your first node is?
The bio node? What is it normally? No, that sounds like a skill node, what you're talking about.
No, it's a bio. I'll have to go look. But anyway, so you're struggling with the first node. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
It has like the black bolts, right? That's the one. I got multiple black bolts. Is that right?
No, your first bio node is what I was talking about. It's Hela, Taskmaster, and then you've got JJ. Electro.
Oh yeah, you kill
keep killing the gray
over and over until you're ready to do. You are correct.
So that's the node you're struggling with.
Yeah, I mean it times out.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you don't have your symbiotes charged, so you have to kill Greg like 8 times, and then you can finally go in.
Exactly. Yeah. So it takes forever, and then if you do, it's like when Falcon shows up. Like there's 4 or 5 characters.
Yep.
You can get stuck in a place where that kills you over and over because JJ somehow gets all this energy, and then he does the speed up like a bunch of times, and it's a pain in the ass. So. Not fun.
Yeah, so what I have a similar problem. What I found in Doom 1.1 is you get to use your abilities a lot more. You get to go through your abilities twice, particularly with the symbiotes, because it takes so much longer to kill things. So when that last wave drops, really you don't have Falcon just yet, but Scream drops, Carnage drops. There's a JJ, and you have leftovers from the first round. You want to ult Scream. That's going to slow that whole second wave down. It's still very, very problematic, but you ult Scream, get her down, then start working JJ, and then when Falcon shows up, spread a slow to him. If he does his ult, you're going to get really low, but your symbiotes are high enough that you'll live through it. But you get to basically ult with Symbiote Spider-Man twice, is what I find in a lot of these bio nodes for Doom 1.1.
Okay, well maybe that's what it is. So that's one pain point for me.
Okay.
The second pain point is it's tech. Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Because these characters like Ghost just dies, and it's not really a team, and it's just not enough, even with Doom. So that's a bit of a problem.
I want to record mine for you because I don't say I'm I'm subject to the same RNG as everybody else, but I do pretty well on those nodes. I do want to record those tech nodes because you really have to have certain abilities up for each of the nodes, and in some cases you need to get a little lucky to get through the first 2, and then certainly you have to have all of your abilities up for the boss node. So I'll record a couple of those. And if you think there's some pearls in there, we can cover them next week. But,
I don't know if it's the composition or some T4 that I'm missing, because this is a boss on the regular Doom that you're like, oh yeah, I finish it in like 2 minutes, and I'm like, I'm like down to the wire and I can't get through it. What the heck?
Yeah.
So
So again, you have to have a lot of things up for the boss node, but for the second node particularly is very problematic because you got to get lucky to get the Pimtech team down, and then you've got a whole nother wave that's really, really problematic. So you have to be very selective of who you kill and which one and which order. So anyway, let me record some of that at a high level. I use Nebula, which is just because she's a really strong character right now, and her ult, and I hope to hit both. You don't target Ghost, you target Yellow Jacket, and you hope you land on him as well as Ghost, and then you do the Kestrel special, and that can kill the entire center section of the Pimtech. If not, there's some ways to get there, but it should at least take care of Yellow Jacket, and he's a real big problem. Ghost is problematic, but not as big a deal. So anyway,
on the regular is not a problem. It's in the 1.1 that it's crazy. Now, my 6 red Kestrel has helped some of that, but even then, it can go south quickly.
Well, I think our listeners are probably just thoroughly confused at this point. So let's do some recordings after, and we can talk through it and come back to the listeners with some pearls.
And I do think we're trying some new strategy of there's more people in my lane, it seems now. So that's helpful because I've been so, kind of 2 people at the bottom of the raid for forever. So it always puts a strain. Kudos to Mario because always I don't know how he does it. Is he spending cores or what is he doing? But he's always up there. So he's covering a lot. But now we have 3 people at the bottom. So that helps for me.
Okay. Yeah, so I talked about it briefly last week that we're thinking about changing up lane assignments. And so we don't have a real answer for the bio nodes. I would say we really don't have a real answer for the tech nodes. And Doom has been out forever. And so it's just too often that we're getting stuck on the bio boss. And so that's the top lane. And then it's quite late for the middle lane. So what we've done is shift to 3 people in the bottom lane, which is Frid's lane that starts out with bio, and that's the mini bio nodes. And we just leave 2 on an island at the top, which hits bio second, and we cross our fingers and hope that they can get through the boss. If nothing else, they clear all the nodes. But the math works out that you can get further in that bottom lane without hitting that bottom bio node or not having the real bio nodes. So you can get further along. So anyway, we're a bit all over the place. What else from a gearing and leveling perspective? Yet again, I don't typically talk about red stars, but yet again, I only got 4 on Cloak, and yet again, my time in this game is going to be quite limited in terms of my future because 4 red stars just doesn't cut it. Part of my problem with the bio lanes is I do have just a 4 red star Carnage and Venom. So game keeps trying to force me out, and we're going to talk about character releases also getting kind of nerfed in a little bit.
Cloak is bio?
No, I was just saying in general, I'm not getting good red stars on characters now. All these new meta teams that we're expected to use in D2, I'm not getting good red stars, so I'm basically screwed.
Yeah, I got 4 on him and Jiangxi, so my Midas touch may be faltering.
No. I think it's the secret lever. Secret lever is
put pause on my good fortune, right?
Yep.
Enough for you. Okay.
So I think that's kind of rambled through that, so hopefully our listeners could follow. But I think next week will probably be more my reveal of what I'm going to do strategy wise. Doom 1.1's rough. Gamma is rough. 4.3 is rough, but outside of that, I'm not struggling too much. War is certainly a challenge right now, so I'm looking to plug some the rating challenges at this stage. All right, with that, let's switch gears and talk about the news.
We interrupt this program for a special news bulletin.
And so Scopely no longer does bugs just in the game. They can no longer produce blog posts without problems as well. And so I saw the first blog post. We typically try and check it out as soon as it comes out so we could type up some notes from the show. And they said that you will be able to unlock both Cloak and Dagger from the upcoming Strike Pass. And I circled that. I sent a screenshot to Fred and said, hey, they fixed the problem. They're going to give us more than 50 shards. Well, of course, for those of you that have noticed and those that maybe have not noticed, there's already an edit, a correction to the blog post, basically proving that you will not only not unlock both of them, you will only be able to unlock one of these characters over 2 months of free-to-play strike passes. So you would have to buy both strike passes to unlock both characters if it was just the strike pass. Now, they have dangled out that there will be a blitz starting around the 23rd of September. And so, Frid, we now have this weird release method. We had Shang-Chi come out with less shards than before. We have strike passes that only give out 100 shards over 2 strike passes. And we need, and both of these characters, by the way, are 100 shard unlocks. This is the first time, I think, ever we've had 2 100 shard unlocks in a month. And there is, at this point, the only path appear to unlock them both is to go hard in the blitz. So, Frid, what are the odds? What's the over-under that we're actually going to get 2 blitzes for these characters?
Oh, there's no chance. This is going to be a combo platter. It's not going to be a choice, but it'll be one of each instead of the traditional 2 each.
So let's put our mid-game player hat on. A mid-game player, just can't compete in Blitz unless they have no life and use every charge and core that they have. And so they're not going to get to the 1% likely. And they may not even get to the 2% in Blitz. So they're looking at 100 shards from the strike pass and 21 from the Blitz milestone and then maybe 50. So
if you do 4%, 55 if you do 2 to 3, maybe.
So yeah. we have mid-game players that could not have both of these characters unlocked, basically, is what I'm getting at, which is just sounds insane to me that we have a new release and players are not going to even unlock the character, much less get decent shards. So mid-game players continue to get locked out. They continue to be prevented from jumping the meta.
I think with the Blitz, we could argue that you can unlock both free to play, maybe, but not everybody. I think this is the first time that they're releasing a character. I guess Silver Surfer maybe is another one.
Well, so just to be more specific, you will have to get to what is the 11 to 20%? You'll get 35 from the milestone, 21 from the regular, from the in reward plus the 21 from the milestone. So you get 50 there, and you have to spend each strike pass on only one character. So they can just barely unlock at 3 yellow stars if they get to the 11%.
Top 20%, 11 to 20. So top 20% of blitzers are the only ones that have access to this. That means 80% of people that blitz, right?
Exactly.
Won't be getting this unlocked.
Yeah, and so we haven't had a real character blitz, like true unlock release in so long. But Maria Hill, the 11 to 25%, which I guess they changed it, was 6 million. So, 6 million, I still remember going all out so I could unlock or get Groot to 5 yellow stars, and I had 1 million collection power, and I was excited that I got to 4 million. So, and that's when we could blitz unlimited. So either way, I think it's a valid statement that 80% of the people out there will not unlock these characters without spending money.
Let's say that I'm wrong and they will run 2 blitzes of each. Then it would mean that you actually had a chance to get extra from the strike passes, which if that's the case, well, that could turn out to be a better thing. For whatever reason, Scopely cannot communicate what blitzes is going to be, only like a loose date and not how many. They probably haven't even decided yet. Depends on the uproar of the people, what they're going to decide.
And if people aren't spending, then they definitely won't do it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's just going to be the one. And I thought this could be, again, the opportunity to have that double 2-for-1 to kind of make a gesture of
good faith
and goodwill. Maybe with these blitzes, that's what gets us there. maybe, if they run them twice for each. But then again, that's gonna take what, another 2 months? Like the whole thing is like a 2 month process,
Right. Which
and
is
then
just crazy.
you have to blitz your life out for.
Which I don't know if I can do that. So we haven't really talked about this. I'm struggling to do the 4 cycles for this current event. I can't imagine doing 8 cycles just with everything that's going on in the real world. So,
and 8 thoughtful, like you're shopping, you're trying to.
Right.
It's like not the mindless. I just go through the buttons on these because I don't care. I can only imagine like I'm shopping and trying to do it right. No. I have been abusing and using my daughter's services in the morning when I take her to school. She knows how to do it now. I said, no shopping.
Just press the buttons.
She hates it, but I'm like, do me a favor.
You need to set up those little birds that have the water that swing back and forth, so that one hits the button, the other hits the other.
Exactly.
Oh God.
That tells you what this mode is. I mean, there's no point to it at all.
Wow. Okay.
You don't get anything from doing it. It's like you don't learn. You don't.
Right. Well, now you don't. Yeah. Okay. All
anyway.
right, so we've gone off the deep end there, but I just wanted to call out, this is the first time that I remember, maybe I'm wrong, but we've not had two characters that have 100 shards to unlock in the same month, nor have we had this many players that will not even be able to unlock it. Normally, mid-game players would always unlock a character below stars, but now they may not even unlock them. This is, yet again, Scopely going in the wrong direction. On the topic of Blitz, we posted in Discord, for those that are regular contributors and readers, that Real-Time Arena, otherwise known as Creative calls it PvP, could be in fact dead on arrival. And that is because Mojo's Mayhem will be leveraging Blitz as well as PvP to gain points. Now, Fred, I don't know if you've gone and looked out there, but we're going to run some numbers next episode. I don't think these are terribly friendly. Looks like you're going to need a lot of Blitz wins to get this. Of course, you get more points from PvP than for Blitz. And
they're changing? I haven't seen any of this.
Yeah, so it's live in the game now. I wanted you to take a look. You just react to this kind of in live fashion, so I forgot. I didn't want to tell you. But, we used to you would have matches that you win, and then you would have knockouts.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is no longer any wins for RTA. There's nothing there. Everything is knockouts for PvP and Blitz wins. And, of course, it's a 10-point system for, it appears, one knockout for PvP, and you get all of 3 points for the entire Blitz win. Doesn't matter that you took out 5 of their characters, you only get 3 points. So the numbers, yet again, do not look good. I've done 1 Blitz fight for Science and 1 PvP fight for Science, and it's pretty lopsided. But you get to the point that you can, literally, like a monkey, blind Blitz through this. So we'll run some numbers midweek, post those. I've already shared the screenshot of this, but as usual, it's not as straightforward, and Scopely has to go change things yet again for us to have to go do math. So that was the second thing. And then the hits keep on coming. And so they being Scopely, have had some very interesting blog posts or midweek blog posts where they react to defects and how they publish things out on Discord. And I had quite the chuckle when we had the latest post, which midweek they basically said, oh, by the way, there is a defect within Chang-Chi. He is magically healing himself and others, and there is no healing in his kit. And it's not that he's just healing. He's healing for 50% of his health. So I could get maybe he tried, just randomly pumped out a little 5%, 10%. But no, it's 50% he is providing healing. So if you all were wondering why the heck this team is so hard in war, that's because there's a bunch of abilities that aren't supposed to be there. And these are just the ones that Scopely is admitting to. We're seeing some other things, but I don't have proof yet. So basically, Scopely is also giving up on fixing any bugs. So they're basically saying, oh, we didn't intend that, but yeah, we really like how it's making war hard, so we're just going to leave it. And so we're going to update the text. It was a great job. Yep. So this one, I mean, they just have given up on fixing defects, which is just crazy to me. Crazy to me.
This time it's not even stealth trying to put the text in there or trying to fix it properly. They're actually just coming out saying, you know what, this is not what it's supposed to be, but we studied it.
Sure.
We like it.
So they studied it because so many people complained about it, and then their algorithm that goes and reads Reddit for them had a bunch of things about Shang-Chi. They're like, oh, we got to go test Shang-Chi. I thought we did that. But I got to give a shout out to, so that one, we have, we replicate messages from the official Marvel Strike Force Discord server into ours. And Captain KP or Cap KP put a big middle finger on that one. So that was basically what I felt on that one too. I thought that was quite humorous of a post. And so they've even, I think, done a blog post saying, yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm just gonna keep it that way. So
let's just leave it. It's kind of nice. We prefer this one. So yeah. Crazy. It's like they just thrown the white flag. They can't even unravel how this could be fixed, so they're just moving on and just patching the text, and that's it.
Yep. So that was strange. So those are the news updates that I had, Fred. But you have some rumors and innuendo that you wanted to share.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the rumor side, but pretty much confirmed because you remember Cerebro when he went in some interview and said you can
easily unlock characters
like
for 7 red
star free if you just do 30 minutes.
Spend a little bit of resources.
And 30 minutes of gameplay a day.
Yeah.
You get 6-star from the event.
Yeah.
Well, there was another one of those. I think it's called Let's Play from Marvel.
Yeah.
And they're showcasing some of this stuff. Well, he announced a little bit of a rework for Wolverine and Sabretooth. It didn't sound like much, to be honest. It was like a few more bleeds or whatever else. But then he went and showed a screenshot of Wolverine on the Weapon X costume. And I don't know if you know the storyline, but he has like a helmet with like a visor, no shirt. And somehow he looked even bigger than his little puny yellow one that sucks currently in the game. It looked pretty cool. I was pretty hyped up. I kind of like that from which movie? I forget which movie it is, but that they run into him and that he's just berserker, running around killing everything, and then just runs out of that facility.
Yeah.
And then if you read on the tag, there's a Weapon X tag. So effectively confirming that Weapon X is coming to the game. Now, the other member, because he talked about it, was Sabretooth. So he got a little bit of some kind of... He only talked about the basic and the special. So there may be some more goodies in the passive and the ultimate. We don't know yet. Plus, they showed their typical thing that they're showing on Twitter now, where it shows you the release characters and then the silhouettes for the next 3 characters that are going to be on the patch. And, you can see from the color and the shape, a lot of people were able to figure this out. So you said you were a fan of the cartoons, or the Marvel in general. Let's see if any of these ring a bell to you. The first one that they deciphered was Omega Red. Do you know who that is? I know the name,
but I don't know anything about that one.
It's a Russian guy, I believe, that has these tentacle arms. Again, don't use me for this kind of stuff because that gets trouble. But that's one. The other one is, I think it's Lady Deathstrike, which it was in one of the Wolverine movies. She had adamantium like him. And they were like coming out of her fingers as opposed to the knuckles, So she had 5 claws just spinning around like crazy. So that's cool. And then the last one is Silver Samurai, which I know the least about. I have no idea who that is, but apparently it's part of that same program. Adamantium, Weapon X stuff.
Now, those are all mutants.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, so we probably should have done our research a little bit better, but I think almost all of those.
Let's see.
They might be a tech one in there. So what I was getting at is we already have mutants in terms of solving Doom. The rumor is we were going to get some tech characters. So maybe Silver Samurai is he's got some armor, and then the other one you mentioned. So maybe they're tech. We'll have to go research. Again, we failed in our duties of researching.
I mean, he appeared in X-Men, so I do think he's a mutant, but we would have to do a little bit more deep research on it.
I'm pretty sure they're all mutants, but we'll research while we do some other things. But yeah, he's a mutant. I don't know the other one. So yeah, so yet again we keep asking for bio characters.
Tech.
And we tech, I guess, and we're not getting those. We're getting what we absolutely don't need anymore of mutant characters. I mean, if you're gonna get a mutant character, at least give Tawna his beloved Gambit.
I know. He keeps
Poor
getting
fella.
pushed back.
I
wonder if this is not tied to any movie that we know of. So anyway, we don't know.
Yeah.
So I think because of the adamantium, clearly she's got to be a mutant. And then I don't know about Silver Samurai. Like I said, I don't know much about him. He's a mutant. These are all mutants. You are correct, sir.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole Weapon X thing, is they basically converted them, against their will in a sense. But anyway, okay. All right, we'll stop there before we embarrass ourselves any further.
With our Marvel knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, we need the comic book nerd guy. Worst review ever. So anyway, okay.
Well, I mean, other than maybe they're the answer to war. I'm assuming it's gonna be a war team because I can't see them making a raid team, right?
We already have the X-Men, which are phenomenal.
So, yeah, more mutants.
Jeez. Just we need another war team.
Yep. Anyway, I think that was all we had. I just loaded the game, by the way, and I noticed those things for Blitz and RTA. So now it's a points-based system. So we'll have to do some calculations here to see how bad this is. Anyway, I think we're done with news and with MSF as a whole, right? So
Well, now you just freaked out our listeners. We're done with MSF just for today and the topics. I have been teasing Marvel Future Revolution in the last installment. I want to cover the PvP game modes. So let me run through those really quick. And I will start with, we'll keep the negative train going here. So one of the things that I really, really, really liked about WoW was Battlegrounds. And so that was PvP, where you're in a map, you're doing objectives. I could play those over and over for hours. And so I had very, very high expectations for PvP, and they have been dashed. So let's talk about why they have been dashed. So first and foremost, the most traditional of PvP game modes is Omega War. And this is really, there's no real objective beyond going and killing people. So this is, you fly around, you have a team of your team versus their team. You run around killing people, and when you kill them, you get the points that they have above their little icon. There aren't any side objectives like capturing a flag or capturing a point. It's really, picking up some crystals and killing people. So very, very basic. The biggest problem that I have is, one, there isn't really any objectives. There's not a lot of strategy. You get a whale. You run around behind him and you tap on people while he one-shots them. And that's ultimately my biggest problem with PvPs. There's zero balance, at least at this stage. You have whales that get to 1 million collection power, and that'll take the rest of us, I surmise, about 4 months to get that high, by just spending crystals and doing pretty much all of the daily objectives. So there's a massive disparity in balance, and literally the enemy player can do one ability and kill you in 1 second. So it's, you see them, they do ability, you're dead. So needless to say, I don't play Omega War very much anymore. Or I go in when my alliance mates are going to go in. I don't queue with them so I can go on the other team and they can kill me over and over again.
It's funny that when you started describing it, I was like, that must be your experience. Because my experience is I go in and I die over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, I can live a little bit longer. Just I have some very good dodge mechanics with Doctor Strange, and I don't just press auto, so I can do a few things. But you clearly see the one guy that's got 2,000 points. You unload everything you have on him. He laughs at you, and then he does one ability, and you're dead. And he's lost maybe a fourth of his health. So to kill these people, it takes like 4 of you fully unloading all at the same time, which is darn near impossible. So Omega War, to me, is the second, or really just PvP in general, is the second major disappointment with the game. Overall, again, I do like the game. I enjoy the game. But it doesn't have a healer, so that's strike number 1. And then strike number 2 is PvP right now is just not balanced, not fun at all. So that's Omega War. You can do that twice a day for rewards, and ultimately the rewards get you PvP badges and cards, Omega cards, which are very important. So that's part of the problem is I don't have a PvP set, which gives extra damage and extra defense against PvP. So ultimately, with this MMO-style game, you end up having a whole set of gear focused on PvE content, and then you have a whole set of gear focused on PvP. And almost every badge, card, whatever, will have some sort of boost or defense stat for PvP, which you really have to have and will take some time to get. Fred, anything you want to add to Omega War or discuss on that?
No, I never figured out what are those crystals that come down. Like, are you supposed to do anything with that?
Yeah, so there's typically one big one. You hit it and it breaks into smaller ones. You pick up the smaller crystals and you get a few points added to your point total. And your point total is displayed next to your name. And the amount of points that you currently have plus all of your allies is your current score. As soon as you start killing the enemy, you get their points and they lose half of theirs. So ultimately, the score can massively fluctuate if you manage to get the one whale that's running around with 2,000 points. If you all can tag team him and kill him, that's a massive point swing in your favor. But that's all it is. The crystals give you a few more points to your total. Every time you make a kill, you get those points. Every time you die, you get half your points deducted.
Okay. See, but do you worry about those crystals or no?
No, I don't live long enough to worry about them. I let other people pick them up, or I just fly around and annoy the whale. So that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was kind of my experience with this. So
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So the other mode, which had a lot of promise in the beginning, I really, really liked it, was Dimension Duel, and that is truthfully a one-on-one PvP match, mano a mano. So it is really all about your skills and unfortunately your gear here yet again. So in the beginning, I was doing very well when it was evenly matched in terms of gear. I still am somehow up into the platinum ranges, but I find every other match I get one shot immediately. So it's, why would I play that? So I typically queue up and die on auto just so I get the squad rank and the other stuff. But every once in a while I'll play it and you'll happen to get someone that's close to your collection power. And it really becomes a real fight where you're dodging like crazy, they're dodging like crazy, and you're loading. That's a ton of fun, but the vast majority of the time that I get, just maybe because I'm too high in the ranking, is that I unload my biggest abilities, they laugh at me, they press one button, and I die. So this is a standard kind of ladder as well, that the more wins you get, the higher your rank you go, and then at the end of the week, you get rewards for your rank. And there are abilities. And so the other thing I kind of missed with PvP, you definitely want to change not only your gear, but also your skills. And so the thing that you're looking for from a skill perspective is high guard break. The higher guard break you have, and that's really what PvP is. It's all about hard CC. So it's dodging when they try and do their big move, using your dodge ability or using ability that makes you invincible. So Strange has one, Storm has one that you can do that, plus the traditional dodge mechanic, and then Spidey, who has dodge for days. And then the other component is hard CC. So you look for hard, highest and high guard break damage on several abilities. You look to knock them down, pummel them with abilities. They get back up. You hit them again. That's the ultimate. So it's very, very frustrating if you find a Spider-Man that knows how to play the game. You're basically webbed the entire time. Anything, Frid, you want to add to that or cover?
I haven't spent too much time with it. I don't even know what league I'm on. I just kind of run them on auto to get the points.
Okay.
So I haven't been bothered by it because I don't run the matches.
Okay.
I notice sometimes it wins, sometimes I don't. It's like, okay.
You don't spend a lot of time with it. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. And the last and most unique mode for PvP is called Dark Zone. And so this is a game mode that does not unlock until you finish the full campaign. So you have to get through all of the zones, New Stark City, Hydra, Xanderth, Midgardia, and Sakaar. And then you have to finish all of the purple quests, mainly beating the final boss. And we won't spoil that for anybody, but it is a challenging fight. Once you do that, you unlock a new zone called Dark Zone. I call this really unique because it is a combination of PvE and PvP all in the same game mode. You basically load into a city type environment, and there are both the kind of minor bosses plus the prime bosses that spawn, and it's a free-for-all in terms of players. And you can tackle or not tackle, but kill or attack anyone that is not in your own alliance or your own party. So it is truthfully a free-for-all, which is very unique in terms of that. Typically, everything's very PvP focused or PvE focused. This is a zone that has it combined. So it has a lot of potential if they kind of mix things up. But again, right now the game has zero balance between whale and free-to-play. And so what happens is that a lot of these whales about 4 or 5 whales team up, and they go in, and again, they wave at you, press one button, and you die. But what we have done, and so I'm in the Sigma Alliance, we actually we haven't done it in a while, but we take over a particular channel. And we go in hordes of like 50 of us. So even that these guys that, press a button and kill 4 or 5 of us, when 10 of us attack them, they die. So, what you want to do is get your alliance to go in. And I believe at 1 p.m., I'm going to give these times in Eastern. I don't know what they are, but 1 p.m. Eastern and then 8 p.m. or not 9 p.m., you get 2 times the points. So a lot of times that's when the zone gets congested. You go in with a big alliance, and you can have a sister alliance. What you would do is just get them to join parties with a bunch of your alliance mates, and so you're all partied up, and you all go in mass, and you basically mark where you're going to go, and you go take out a boss, you take out an enemy group. So it's very interesting from that perspective. And so, we were owning a particular channel, and then, the soft launch ended, and so we had our alliance kind of disband a little bit. So we had X-Force come in and try and fight us off. And of course they kill me because they're, the whalies of the whales. But we were actually holding our own. Now there's Spider Pigs and a couple other groups that are all in there kind of competing. So what I've heard is Channel 1 in the Mega server was taken over by X-Force. Channel 2 was taken over by Casino, and so we were doing Channel 3. So it has a lot of interest. Ultimately, I forgot to cover the most important part, which is the rewards. So you're killing these bosses, which gives you Omega cards. You also have a running quest that you have to get 10,000 points, which will then give you some more rewards. But ultimately, it's all about getting weekly points for a ladder and then getting a ton of Omega cards. You can kill 2 more prime bosses and then kill 7 of the other bosses. So this one's, really interesting. Everything in the zone in terms of the enemy mobs are really souped up, really high damage. So you do have to be very, very careful. Plus there's everybody's AoEing and going nuts. So you have to be very careful about what spells you're using, who's nearby. So it's an interesting challenge, but it also is, whales coming in, killing you one shot. And then 2, you basically run around killing the bosses that you've already done in raids, that you've already done in the campaign, that you already do in Most Wanted. So yet again, they're recycling the boss fights. But I think it could be very entertaining if they start mixing it up and adding kind of some different objectives besides running around and killing the same bosses over and over again.
So, is this something you do enjoy, this part of the game, or still?
I like it when it's not kind of full on PvP against whales. It's a lot of fun to run in a pack of 50 and go take out things. And we're all on Discord, we're all talking and having a good time. So this one is probably the one time I really feel like I'm part of an alliance, because most of the time you're just running in a group of 4. So this is the one and only time you really feel like you're in an alliance of 40 plus people. So I like that aspect, but it is again the whale aspect and just complete lack of balance of gearing and is kind of making it a little rough. It does get a little stale running around killing the bosses, but I don't do it every night. I only do it a few times a week.
Okay. Well, I haven't unlocked this, so I don't know what it looks like. Sounds like a nightmare in a sense.
Because I'll basically party up with you and bring you in, and that way my alliance won't kill you.
I'm not part of any of these alliances, so it would be tough.
So I think they could do some really fun things with this. So, one, it's the same boss fights. I'm tired of the boss fights. I want objective-based PvP where you capture a point, you have to hold it, or you capture a flag. I like those aspects where there's kind of a game within the game of just killing each other.
Gotcha.
So I think it has potential. It's very unique that at least I've not played things like this before. So I was hoping on soft launch or the full global launch that we'd see some new content. We haven't seen that yet, and I'm hoping they really change this and add some things to it. Okay. So I wanted to cover that. Again, I'm a little negative on the PvP front because it's just very, very unbalanced at this point. Maybe over time it gets more even. But I think that Netmarble really, really needs to look at that. Otherwise, it's going to turn off the majority of player base. And, whales, the reason they spin is so they can go dominate. No one's going to go in and play, and then the whales can't kill anybody. So if the whale can't kill anybody, he doesn't get his satisfaction of spending the money, and therefore, things happen that go down the drain. So, all right. We did have a question from Ironside in Discord about, what's the most important things to do every day? What is okay to miss? So the first thing I would say is everything is okay to miss. This isn't like Marvel Strike Force, where if you decide not to log in one day, your alliance does not hit 100% in a raid, doesn't miss attacks in a war. It is very mobile friendly. If you play, great. If you don't, not a big deal. So you can miss everything, and there's no guilt trip that we get from Marvel Strike Force. But in terms of what are the most important things to do, first and foremost is special operations. It's the only place that you get the PIM particle or whatever the name of the particle is that you need to do, or you need for the workshop to craft, your lowly chance of getting regional gear. So that's probably the most important thing. And again, that one is very free-to-play friendly in that your gear does not matter in that mode. And it's also very quick. While it is objective-based and sometimes you get an AFKer, it is fairly straightforward. It's fairly quick. So that one gets you those much-needed particles. So I would put that number 1 on the list. Number 2 on the list is doing the highest blitz that you can. So if you haven't got to level 100, doing whatever the highest blitz you can do will get you better badges, get you gold, and get you the much needed squad leveling points, squad rank points, or whatever you call it. So those are probably the 2 highest things I would say. And then when you get to later game, doing the raid. So the specialization tree is, it's very slow grind to get those. You only get those from doing a few raids a day. And we would recommend spending your cores to get extra of the anti-convergiums for the specialization. So those are the 3 things, and you can do 1 raid, you can do all 3. But that, you can easily do that in 30 minutes. So those are probably the easiest and most direct. I would still recommend doing the most wanted, but that one takes a little longer because you're sitting in zone, and you do that simply for the gearboxes.
I have been a little bit more disciplined with the most wanted, and I've been kind of lucky to get quickly through it, but you do have to sit there and wait for the target to appear. So
Yeah. And so, remember the tips we talked about the other week is if you go into the zone and the particular boss is not there, one is you can go kill whatever is there to get the higher chance for them to spawn. And then secondarily, if you don't feel like waiting, just go do a blitz and come back and check. Or go do the special operations, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the ones that, and unfortunately that's most of the game modes. Now, from a PvP perspective, again, if that floats your boat and you don't mind the whale aspect, Omega War, you have to... It only happens every 20 minutes. It takes 10 plus minutes. So that's a big time sink. And it's also a slow grind to get those PvP badges. So it's not as required. Same for Dimension Duel. Okay.
What
Fred,
about that
else?
other one? What is it called? Challenge or something? It's like it goes from 1 to 30. What's that one? Does that matter?
Well, you don't have to do that every day. It's really, you just do it once a week. That is called Battle Challenge. That was the tower level kind of thing where you finish one level, you move to the next. You can just put that on auto and get to whatever level. And you don't have to do that every day. You just do it at some point during the week.
Okay. Anything good in there or no?
Yeah,
Rewards?
there's some solid rewards. There's a lot of cores. There's squad rank. There's decent stuff in there. So it's, if you have the time to put it in, you can get a lot of gold, squad rank, cores. And I'm just flipping through it again here just to remind me. I put all this down in a spreadsheet somewhere. But that's what a lot of what it is: squad rank, gold, and then the cores.
Cool.
Okay. We've gone a little over here. The last thing I just want to talk about is gold and how do you get gold? How do you get crystals? I'm going to go through this fairly quickly just because we're running over. So first and foremost, doing quests. The side quests, the regular quests get you gold. I don't know if I've said it in the past, but you don't need to do all of the side quests. You can really skip a lot of the side quests until you get to Midgardia. In Midgardia and Sakaar, you have to do all the quests, and you get to level 100. But doing quests, as a general statement, gets you a lot of gold. You can use an alt, really just put it on auto, do the yellow and purple quests, and you will get quite a bit of gold, over the course of an hour or two as they get to, say, level 35. So completing all of the blitzes gets around 238k per day, and that's every blitz 3 times. So that's, quite a bit of time. Dismantling all the badges you get from blitz is maybe about 15k. Doing all of the daily challenges and objectives gets you 55k and 30k, so 85k. Logging in and playing for 40 minutes gets you some more. Doing the Alliance check-in is 3k. Mm-hmm. Special operations 5k. Every one of these is a little bit here and there. And then if you're doing raids at the highest level, you get 165k. I think it's around 100k for the lower levels. All of that, if you're doing the highest end, is a little over 600k of just the daily activities. So leveling alts is still a great way to do it. Factoring that you have to do a 100k donation for the Alliance, at least if you're in a more competitive Alliance, you're down to 500k. And there's definitely some big spends, at least at a weekly level, from the Alliance shop, in terms of buying the squad rank stuff and a few other things there. So you can very quickly run out of gold. Plus, when you finally get 1 to 100, you spend another 2 million in gold just to level all your abilities. But the key thing is focus on one character, gear them up, level up the alts so that you can get some gold as well. All right, I'll go deeper into crystals and some other things in a future episode, but anything else we want to cover today, Fred?
I don't think so. I'm surprised how much is from Blitz, but that is a lot of Blitz that you would have to do. It's a ton of time, but it's the big chunk of this gold.
Yeah, the good news is, even for you that's a newer level 100 player, you can pretty much auto everything up to the Lofty Blitz. And even that one, you only need to play about 1/3 of it. The first kind of waves, you don't have to play even the first round of Lofty. After that, you can auto probably most of the first part of Maestro, but you have to kind of run around for that one. So, it's a lot of auto that you can do. Just queue up and do it, and you don't even have to wait for teams through half of it. You can do a lot of it on solo if you really wanted to.
Yep, cool. Yeah. Then I just putting in the time to just do it. The first, I guess 7 or 8 really then are auto where I'm at. And just if I haven't said it, but I decided to go main Spider-Man. So he's level 100, but I haven't even finished I tried today the Maestro boss final guy fight, and it's kind of a pain. I couldn't even see with the camera. Anyway, I need to learn to fight a little bit better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the first character through is always the hardest, so you have to learn the fight. You can't fail in the first few. So
I know.
It's a little frustrating.
It takes forever to get there because you got to do all this other stuff before.
Yep.
So
Yep.
beat him once and beat Ares again. And yeah, it takes a good 15 minutes just to get to that point, and then you can't fail.
Okay. So the last thing I wanted to ask you on the spur here, so we both have iPhones. We're both using the screen time logging. Have you looked at, how much you're playing, and you sometimes you're on different devices, but looked at how much you're playing Strike Force, how much you're playing Marvel Future Revolution, and just, do you have any concerns there?
No, I haven't looked at it recently. I don't know. And I tend to leave the iPad sort of up, so I'm sure all that counts, even though I may not be doing anything. And it won't turn off. It'll just stay there. So it could say, 8 hours or something. Who knows? But I'm sure it's a lot.
Well, let me phrase it this way. Is your Marvel Future Revolution game time impeding on your Marvel Strike Force game time?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's just limited amount of time, so.
Yep.
Yeah, things. I am. I think back to how you had a schedule that was more organized for Strike Force.
Yep.
I feel like I'm hitting some sort of rhythm, kind of. So
okay.
I do now raid like at night, which is weird, before bed and some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Try to avoid doing it when I'm with family. I think I mentioned this before. Doing it early in the morning or late at night after people have gone to bed. So that's one way. Because they launch them at like 3 or something weird. So
which is rough for us in terms of midday and the call. But I turn on notifications. I don't know if you have notifications, but I only do it simply for it pops up and says the new raid kicked off, and I go in and do one fight, so I don't lose energy.
That's right.
But I will. Where I was kind of leading you with this question is, my game time is going up way too much, so I'm concerned a bit that something is going to have to falter. I'm not quite sure what that is just yet, but I'm playing way too much. I don't have anywhere near enough time to dedicate to the way I play, I guess, to both. And I don't know what to call it, maybe a part-time alliance lead or help behind the scenes, so that's taking some time as well. Not a ton, but a little bit. So
on
Strike Force.
Oh, gotcha. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's crazy.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, I don't know how to end at this point.
No, I mean, I think we'll keep an eye on this game and see what's going to happen. I mean, it's only been it's not that long that it has released, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, we're 2 months, a little over 2 months now, so.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to stop. We'll keep an eye on it. And we haven't heard anything from anybody about whether, I mean, I know Discord, there's active discussion, but outside of that, do you like this? Do you not like it? Let us know if you want us to continue to cover both games or stick to the Strike Force that we were known for. But I think it's important to get your feedback and making sure that this is something you're enjoying and getting something out of it. What else? You can find us on Twitter. You can come to Discord and continue the conversation. We are on Twitter and all their social medias. You could even write an email to rngendgame@gmail.com. Episodes are posted on YouTube even. You can put a comment there and subscribe and all that. And we are also, of course, on your favorite podcast app. So if you can leave us a review, we would greatly appreciate it. Anything else, Creative?
No, I think you covered it. As always, stay safe, stay healthy.
Talk next week.